No one really prepares you for this part after cancer because everyone talks about getting through it. But not a lot of people talk about what happens after. And this is the part that can feel really confusing because from the outside, it looks like everything should be okay now. Treatment is done, appointments start slowing down, people around you start to relax. They say things like, "You did it, you're so strong, you made it through." And you hear that, and part of you thinks, yeah, I should feel better. But instead, something just feels off. It's hard to explain. It's not always something obvious. Sometimes it's just the quiet feeling that things don't feel the same anymore. And you try to go back to your normal routine, your normal life, and it doesn't quite fit the way it used to. And a lot of people start asking themselves, why do I feel like this? Shouldn't I be okay by now? And this is where I want you to understand something really important. Nothing about this is random. During cancer, your body and your mind go into survival mode. Everything narrows down to one focus, getting through it. Appointments, results, treatments. You're just moving from one step to the next. There isn't a lot of space to slow down and process what's happening. You're just in it. And in a way that survival mode helps you get through. But when it's over, that's when everything starts to catch up. And that's when people start noticing things like feeling more anxious than they're used to, having a hard time relaxing, overthinking every physical sensation, feeling disconnected from people around them, or even feeling disconnected from themselves. And one of the biggest things I hear is, I don't feel like myself anymore. And that can be really unsettling because it's not just about what you went through physically, it's that something internally shifted. And that makes sense. You went through something that changed you, so of course things don't feel exactly the same. But a lot of people interpret that as something being wrong, like they're not coping well enough or they should be further along by now. And I want to be really clear with you. There is nothing wrong with you. What you're feeling is a very real response to going through something very overwhelming. Your nervous system learned how to stay alert, how to scan for danger, how to prepare for the next thing. And it doesn't just shut off because treatment ended. It takes time. And more than that, there's also this identity piece. Because before cancer, you had a certain sense of who you were. And during cancer, everything becomes about getting through it. But after, there's this space where you start to realize, I'm not exactly the same person I was before. And that can feel really uncomfortable, sometimes even scary, because it's really unfamiliar. But it doesn't mean something went wrong. It just means something changed. And instead of trying to force yourself back into who you used to be, the real work becomes learning how to move forward as the version of you that exists now. And that's not something that happens overnight. It takes time to adjust, it takes patience with yourself, and it takes support. So if you've been feeling this way, like things are off, like you don't quite feel like yourself, like you should be okay, but you're not, I want you to hear this part. You're not behind. You're not doing anything wrong. And you're not broken. You're adjusting. And that's a process most people don't talk about. But it's a very real part of after cancer. And you don't have to figure that out on your own.